On this episode of WGTV, Prosper sees a change in police leadership.
As an interim police chief, Chief Kowalski has left the agency.
One senior celebrates a life-changing college acceptance.
I wasn't nervous or shy. I was more kind of like, I was happy.
And a player's recovery and dedication to go complete a season.
It ended up being a stress fracture on my L4 vertebrae and my lower back on the left side.
These stories and more on this episode of WGTV. Good afternoon, Wildcats, and thank you for tuning into this episode of WGTV. Live from the Grove, I'm Hudson Acosta.
And I'm Sebastian Backus.
We have many exciting stories coming up, but first Sebastian's going to catch you up on what's been happening at the Grove. Sebastian?
Thanks, Hudson. The Wildcat Navy and Silver barbecue teams secured a win by becoming Grand and Reserve champions at the Walnut Grove Regional Barbecue Competition. These victories will bring them to Granite Shoals, located 30 minutes northwest of Austin, this weekend to compete for the title of state champion. College Week is here, and it is taking place from April 27th through May 1st, featuring a week of campus-wide events celebrating higher education. Students can expect daily activities, themes, and opportunities to learn more about college pathways, applications, and future career options. The town of Prosper has launched Prosper America 250, a community-wide celebration marking the nation's 250th birthday. Over the coming weeks, downtown Prosper will be transformed through the Paint Prosper Proud initiative. Featuring patriotic window art and large-scale displays, this celebration will all lead up to the Pride in the Sky event on July 2nd, featuring live music and a firework display at Frontier Park. And speaking of history, Prosper ISD continues to experience rapid growth, with enrollment now serving more than 30,000 students across the district. Over the past year, voters approved a $2.8 billion bond package, marking the largest school bond proposal in Texas history. This bond will fund new schools, technology upgrades, and a state-of-the-art performing arts center.
And speaking of development, Doug Kowalski, who joined back in 2014 as an interim police chief, led the department's development alongside the town. Olivia Cook looks in at his fresh start, joining Lucas's police department.
Doug Kowalski, Prosper's chief of police, is going to Lucas. He now holds the position of the director of public safety with the Lucas Police Department, where he will soon become chief.
We were so excited when we got Chief Kowalski's resume to come across the board because he is a well-known name in the county, a well-known name in the state, and someone who is highly sought after and has an amazing career.
In his place stands Ken Myers, the current interim police chief.
As an interim police chief, Chief Kowalski has left the agency. I've known Chief Kowalski for a lot of years, very, very respected. So when I was asked to come in as the interim police chief, it was to come in, assume what he was doing, but I will be working on the budget, hiring new police officers and additional staff, with the thought that the city will do a long-term police chief in the coming months. So they'll do a nationwide search, try to identify who the next police chief for the community will be on a more permanent basis.
As Doug Kowalski starts fresh with the foundation of Lucas, he and the town of Prosper put their faith in Ken Myers until a new permanent chief is found.
It supports public safety, both police and fire. It's been a really great experience to come here and be the interim chief, to work with an outstanding staff, both in the police department, but also in the town and our brothers and sisters over at the fire department.
For WGTV,
So with that, Chief Kowalski.
I'm Olivia Cook.
Although Kowalski's departure from Prosper marks the end of his leadership here, it's only the start in Lucas's police department as their newest director of public safety.
A Brazilian fitness influencer drowned during the Texas Ironman Triathlon located in Lake Woodlands just outside of Houston. Mara Flavia vanished during the swim portion of the triathlon and was eventually found and identified on Monday, with Ironman organizers stating, "We send our deepest sympathies to the family and friends of the athlete and will offer them our support as they go through this very difficult time." An investigation is still ongoing into her decease. The Electric Reliability Council of Texas recently released a preliminary long-term forecasting, stating that demands for electricity could reach over 367,000 megawatts by 2032. The council states that with new loads being added to the system in faster and greater amounts, the possibility of the state grid being able to withstand the assumed amount of megawatts is unlikely due to the infrastructure taking years of development. In reality, the grid's growth will coincide with how quickly the infrastructure can be built to regulate this rapid growth. In other news, visitors at a popular national park are being warned to stay alert after a series of dangerous bear encounters. Officials at Great Smoky Mountains National Park say that multiple incidents involved bears chasing hikers and taking their food, with one incident including a visitor being bitten after entering a closed area. Rangers responded to several incidents and have temporarily closed parts of the park while they monitor the situation.
Clemson Life, a program established in 2009 by Clemson University, has the goal of helping students with intellectual disabilities by offering courses to improve independent living. Camila Salinas looks into how this program builds not just independence, but offers a whole new set of opportunities.
That moment we found out that he was only one of 12 students selected to be accepted into the program, we were just beyond thrilled for him, and then also just proud of all the hard work that he's put in and all the growth that he's seen over the last 4 years of high school, and that's kind of what made it all possible for him.
As seniors reach their final months in school, they look towards more than just their future. They look to their emails for college letters. For one senior, however, this letter was more than just acceptance.
Dylan,
woo! Congratulations.
I wasn't nervous or shy. I was more kind of like, I was happy, and then I was like, man, I'm going to college. This is pretty cool, and it's all about loyalty, respect. My job is being a grown man and living my own with friends.
Throughout this lengthy process, Dylan's parents and siblings were there for him as his college dream became possible.
3 years ago, we toured the program, and I think that's when he had a blast that weekend when we toured the program, and I think that's when it started to become for real for him, and he could, I think, see himself being a student in Clemson, and he got to walk around and see the other students that were already there, and I think it became real, and he was able to picture that for himself a little bit.
As Dylan watched his friends commit to their dream colleges, he explored his possibilities and what he wanted to do.
Well, to think like I had like an impact on someone like that, that's really cool to think about. I've known Dylan for a couple years now, and he's just a really cool guy. I remember the day he told me he was going to Clemson at the lunch table. That was really cool to hear.
And then you have Lucas going to UCLA, and I'm like, one day, I told him at lunch, and I was like, one day I will wear my Michael Jackson shirt, because he's from there also, and of course he passed away there also.
And I just thought it was so cool. I'm so proud of him. He deserves it more than anyone I know, and I just think he's going to do great things.
As Dylan attempts Clemson with the class of 2030, he achieves his college dream while striving to become a football manager. For WGTV, I'm Camila Salinas.
Dylan's future at Clemson University with Clemson Life will eventually help him complete his goal of becoming a future Clemson Tigers football manager. And speaking of football, from a football field future to a soccer field's newest chance, Jackson Kongursky has your sports recap. Jackson?
Thank you, Hudson. Well, it's definitely not a surprise that the boys soccer team went to Georgetown, but that they went back-to-back for their second state championship as a 3-year-old program. However, with star player Mason Kutch and starting goalie Quinn Shelton graduating, it'll be interesting to see if the Wildcats can pull a three-peat and keep their perfect streak. And with a great ending for boys soccer, let's tune into a team that's currently wrapping up their regular season and is bound for the playoffs. Boys baseball is currently 22-7, ranked 34th in the state, and about to play their last game before the playoffs against Melissa, who they just recently lost 3-1 to this past Tuesday. Will the Wildcats get their revenge and slot themselves into the number 2 slot in the district? Well, they play tonight at 7:30 at Melissa in a last-minute fight for the 2 seed in a very top-heavy district. Now, moving on to the track, both the boys and girls are advancing to regionals and are just a few more meets away from becoming the potential second program to win state this year for the Grove. Some of the most notable wins for the boys include Jackson Hooker being the area champ for shot put, Ashton Fletcher being the area champ for 110 and 300 meter hurdles, and for the girls, Jade Reitzel taking area champ for girls high jump, Lauren Carruthers winning long jump and triple jump, and Emma Davis, Gabby Scott, Cassidy Grant, and Jayla Edwards winning both the 4x100 meter and 4x200 meter relays. But with arguably the most important race for the Wildcats that I didn't mention on purpose, the boys 4x400 meter relay, let's move on over to our top 3 plays of the week. With this masterclass, the Wildcats didn't just win the race, but they won the whole entire meet because of this race. Starting off with Keyshawn Brooks, he puts the Wildcats in a strong second place position, and then hands it off to Dwayne Israel, who continues the starting success, allowing the Wildcats to just be a few seconds behind first place. Israel hands it off to Edward Moss, who still holds on to second place for Ashton Fletcher for the final leg. Fletcher starts off neck and neck with third place, but at around 150 meters in, he overtakes first and commandingly holds it all the way to the finish line. And that was a lot of analysis, so let's make it short but very sweet for our baseball clip.
That's a solo shot for your shortstop, number 2, Joshua Myers. One, Jacob.
That was a beautiful home run scored by Joshua Myers in the top of the first inning. A wonderful intro for the game and his 9th home run of the season. Now, moving on to our number 1, most important, high stakes, exciting play of the week. Of course, it's a soccer clip. This goal starts off and ends very quick, with a penalty kick finding its way to Isaac Mara, and then finding the back of the goal in less than 5 seconds. With the boys taking up the championship on a slim margin of 2-0, this goal wasn't just important for the pressure, but also for the senior who scored it, his 5th of the season. That's all for our top 3 plays of the week. But with sports, there's always a chance of injury. Sloka Tenikila follows one freshman softball player's path to find their swing again.
I hated it. I hated every second of not playing, sitting on the bench.
Being a batter in softball requires a powerful swing, utilizing your back muscles and rotating your entire torso. Not being able to perform this motion can impact someone's entire season.
They told me it was an overuse injury, so I did a lot of rotating and I was lifting a lot of heavy weights, and so it ended up being a stress fracture on my L4 vertebrae in my lower back on the left side.
While injuries can sideline an athlete physically, the mental battle that follows can be just as challenging.
Injuries, unfortunately, are always part of an athlete's life. And it's one of the hardest things to do, mostly because they want to be on the field playing with their teammates. And as a freshman coming in, you want to sort of assert yourself, you want to prove yourself.
But instead of proving herself on the field, her focus had to shift towards recovery, patience, and doing things the right way.
Basically following what the doctor told her to do. Little by little, when they told her she could try something, she slowly went at it. And I think it was one of those things where nope, I kind of felt it a little bit, back off a little bit, give it a little bit more time, then start amping it up again. And that's the biggest thing as athletes. Listen to the medical professionals, listen to our trainers.
Despite her setbacks, she comes back to fight with her team against Mount Pleasant High School in the first round of playoffs. For WGTV, I'm Sloka Tenikila.
The Groves softball team is bound for the playoffs, being 3rd in their district with a 9-5 record. That's all for your sports recap. For WGTV, I'm Jackson Kingerski. Back to you, Hudson and Sebastian.
Thank you, Jackson. That's all we have for today's episode. For WGTV, I'm Sebastian Backus.
And I'm Hudson Costa. Thank you for watching, and remember, Wildcats, set the standard.